Alrighty, so I guess let's get started with the webinar. So again, thank you everyone for taking your time to watch over today's webinar. Again, my name is Alex Sutler. I'm the key account executive here at SmartCloud Connect, and I'm here with my colleagues Femi Fakuade and Tom Nash.
Hi,
Hello,
guys.
everyone.
Alrighty, so ladies and gentlemen, if you do have some questions about this webinar, we will make this webinar as interactive as possible. So if you do have some questions, feel free to ask those questions in the webinar. There's a field available to get your questions asked. You can raise your hand as well. And additionally, we will have some polls during this webinar. And so the webinar we're planning to have this webinar on differentiation between Salesforce Lightning for Outlook, which most of you, I guess, know of, and SmartCloud Connect, which I guess you also know of, right? So I guess, guys, let's get started with a little introduction about our company, and then we'll move straight to the actual webinar.
Certainly.
Okay, so Invisible CRM, this is us, guys. So we produce or develop the product SmartCloud Connect. We've been on this market for more than almost 12 years now, and been mentioned by a few credible sources. Bill Gates, when he was doing a presentation in Outlook and how easy it is integrated with third-party apps, he actually mentioned our solution, SmartCloud Connect, as a good example of good integration with third-party apps. Gartner also called us cool vendor, and Nuclear Research calculated that it would take you just 5 hours for your return of investments for SmartCloud Connect. And we also work with a few key OEM partners. Tom, can you do some presentation on that one?
Absolutely. So we have developed integrations not only for the Salesforce platform, we also in OEM relationship with Oracle and SAP, and we have basically developed tons of products for them. As far as it goes, we have developed the connectors for mostly like all the Oracle system and SAP system. So if you come across any of such integration, is basically us, but white labeled.
Yeah, and basically the primary goal that we have is not just integrate your data between your Salesforce and Outlook. It's actually to optimize or integrate your business processes to make your reps and yourself more efficient while you're working with your Salesforce and increase your Salesforce user adoption. So I guess we will not go any further. We will just start right away with the SmartCloud comparison and Salesforce. Yep. So let me just quickly open my Outlook. So here we are. So I guess the way how we will present this demo today is that we will show what business processes we go through while working with our Salesforce data, and how both tools in SmartCloud and Salesforce Lightning help us to increase our user adoption and help us to improve and increase our productivity. So I guess, guys, typically what it happens, right? You get an email from someone, sent to your sales email or info email. And the first thing that you would want to have is to have the ability to see what's available for that email sender in your CRM. And this is basically why you need this type of integration between your Salesforce and your inbox to get a full 360-degree view of your CRM data, but right inside of your inbox. So right now, let's say I just got an email from Todd Gartner, and I have the Salesforce Lightning for Outlook opened as a sidebar, and obviously it doesn't tell me much what I have about this guy in the Salesforce. I'm just trying to click on those on the name of Todd Gartner, and nothing happens. All I can do here is either try to open this record in Salesforce, but when I do, Salesforce doesn't find anything. It just takes me to the home page, and that's all. And I can just check my tasks. So not much information, basically. Now, Femi, can you show me how would SmartCloud deal in the same type of scenario, and what would you do if you were to get this type of email, and what would be your first step?
Okay, that's pretty easy actually. So I'm just going to share my screen so that they can see the the comparison actually. So, so if I find myself in the same position, so let's even use that email as a quick example. So SmartCloud Connect basically provides you with a 360 inside view. Now, it has basically synchronized with my Salesforce database just to give me a better understanding of who Todd Gartner is. But with the intuitive UI that we also have, it's also now suggesting me few scenarios to go about. Do I want to create a new account, or do I want to just create a new lead? Then I can actually proceed from there to now move that lead to a contact or to an account. But another insights that we provide is the ability to have a better understanding of this person actually, which Smart Cloud also provides you with the flexibility to use the LinkedIn social media insights. So for example, now I want to get a glance of who is really Todd Gartner. I click on my LinkedIn link here, and it will take me directly to Todd Gartner's LinkedIn page. Now, giving me a better perspective of who Todd is before I now go back to actually create that contact. So now I can see now he's the CEO, and I have a better understanding of the company. But now I go back to my inbox, and I just proceed with creating a new lead. Now the tool saves me a
So
lot of time.
So yeah,
Okay.
so it's really good, as you guys notice, that it actually tells you that no record is found in Salesforce. So it gives you an idea that you have to create this record first.
Yeah.
Moreover, it doesn't just show the name of the Todd Gartner, but it suggests that you create the record in Salesforce. And again, you have an option to create either a contact or a lead or whatever you wish, right? So Femi, go
Okay.
ahead.
So basically, with a click of a button, I decided to create a new lead instead of a contact. Then, but the tool also takes the contextual data with the body of the email and helps me to auto parse the information that it has actually gotten from the body of the email, such as the first name and the last name, and also the company. And I can just create a new lead based on the customization that I have in place. Alex, do you want to add more to that?
Yeah, so basically the idea is that if you could go ahead, yeah, you've just created this new lead, right?
Yeah.
And let me again go back to my screen and let's see what we can do with that record that you just created. So I'll make myself a presenter again. Okay, so again, we are on the same email, Todd Gardner. All right, so here, Salesforce Lightning now shows me the record that Fami just barely created, right? So I can quickly look what I have here. All right, so in details section, I see I have all the fields here. Some fields I don't use, let's say UTM term account, UTM term opti. I don't use those fields, but they are still here. Title, rank, search processed. Okay, so if I want to edit those records, I can just double click on any of the field. It goes into the edit mode. Okay, I can add the industry. Okay, so let's say just add any random industry. Okay, the phone number, I just have to copy paste that. So basically, not a lot, but like I mentioned in the beginning, I wanted to, let's say, I don't work with those two fields, package and persona, UTM term opt-in. So, and to make it worse, they stay on top of my sidebar, so they kind of obstruct the view what's really valuable to me, like name, the company name, email, maybe the phone number. So Femi, obviously the Lightning doesn't give me the ability to customize what is visible to me right inside of this card, right inside of the sidebar. What I
Yeah.
want to see, what records I want to see, and what records are not really important to me. Tom, do you have any good solution to that?
Yeah, actually I do. Basically, since you're kind of limited in the Salesforce native integration, we have provided the capability to actually go ahead and customize exactly what you can see at the side panel. So if you could actually see my screen, you guys do, right?
Yeah, we do already. Yeah.
Okay. So basically here in the side panel, it's super easy to customize everything up to how exactly you think it would be feasible for you. So all you have to do is to click on those three lines and go into customization panel. And here basically reside all the settings for the app itself. So you can customize and change how exactly it would look and feel for each of your team member, for you specifically, or you can manage it on a group level. So basically on the left side, you have all the list of objects within the Salesforce, and we basically pull the entire list, we pull all the custom objects, we pull all the related lists, and so on. Once you've selected, let's say I want to add a custom object, let's say contract, and I want it to be shown in the side panel, all I have to do is just click on it. Then I have to specify the fields on a quick preview. Let's say it would be for the contract, it would be a contract term. And
so basically,
let's say
you're adding here the most relevant data that you want to see from the very first glance, right?
absolutely. Like from my perspective, it would be the most relevant data to myself and would be the most useful information. So everything that I had added in here is basically something that would give me more idea of like what was the current contract with the person with whom I'm talking right now. So it would basically give me a more value and more information while I'm talking to him. In the meantime, you can also define how exactly any of those objects would be searched by. So if I'm about to add the contract, I've added all the fields, let's say. Right now, I can also define how exactly this contract would be searched, because we go through the body of the email contextually, and we actually, if there is any trigger by which we can pull this information and show it to you, we'll definitely do that. So in my case, it pulls by the contract number, but just in case I want it to be, let's say, something like customer signed title, something specific to my case, in which it would show me this information. It would be better example actually an opportunity. So let's say I want the opportunities not to be shown by name only, but they will also want them to be shown by invoice number, and let's say by the purchase order number. So this, when I'm customizing everything, I'm actually doing it for myself and based on how exactly I see the fit. And you can do all the same. It's included into the SmartCloud like once you install it, so you can customize the look and feel up to how exactly you require that. Once it's set up, you can easily go ahead and send this customization over to your colleagues, or if you have someone who is already using the tool, you can basically go ahead and get ready the customization from him. When I'm done, all I have to do is basically to hit save, and all the changes which I've made in here, they would basically go back into the Outlook side panel, so I could see them reflected right in here. So
Okay.
that's really something how you can adjust the tool up to your workflows and needs specifically.
That's like
yeah, Femi, go ahead.
That's basically gives you the flexibility to be more to personalize it towards your business processes directly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And also it would be very, very useful in case if you have different divisions in the company working with the different Salesforce data, the different objects or different fields in Salesforce, right? And so each of those different divisions, maybe support, sales, marketing, they need to see different data in that sidebar, right? And so this customization functionality allows them to customize it, so to tailor it according to what their business workflow processes are like, right? And additionally, can you explain what's the difference between important fields and not important fields? How does that work with SmartCloud customization?
Exactly. So in customization, it looks like this basically. So you go in the panel, and here if you click on three dots, you can basically move the objects on the top just to decide whether it's important for you or not. But in the detail view, you can decide, like, you have all the lists of fields in here. And here, if you click on this pencil icon, you can basically select whether this field is important, because on, let's say, on opportunity, the description field is something that that's must have. But if something, let's say observations and notes, is something not really important. How exactly it looks like in the side panel in Outlook is basically like this. So in here under, let's say I want to jump into Jeff's card, or is basically into account card would be better. So I can see right now only the important fields which I've selected. It's like the industry for account, website, account name, account phone number, and that's it. But if I want to dive deeper and see all the related information, I can just unselect this this checkbox and see all the information about the account. It's pretty much empty, but still, you can, if in case if it would be in your example, it would be not the demo environment, but the real case, you'll be able to dive deeper into details and see everything related.
Oh, thank you very much, Tom. By the way, we just got a question, and the question is coming from Brenda. She's asking, how does it look like on the mobile device? So, by the way, this is a very good question, Brenda. Thank you very much. So, comparing to Salesforce Lightning, which doesn't yet support the mobile experience, which is also very, very important when you have sales reps or support reps working in the field, or you're traveling a lot, right? So you need to have some kind of a mobile experience.
Yep.
And so you need to make sure that this type of integration is not just available on your laptop when you work in the office or on your PC, right? You need to make sure that it's also available when you are traveling. And so SmartCloud is fully supported by on the mobile devices as well. All you have to do, you just have to use the Outlook for iOS in case if you are using the iPhones or iPads, or you have to use Outlook for Android if you are an Android user.
Yeah, so in terms of productivity tools, we do have much to work with, actually. If you scroll down till the bottom of the SmartCloud Connect, you'll see here a couple of options. The first would be the View Open Email Statistics. Is basically applied for all the emails which you are tracking right now. I'll just go into my detailed stats and show how exactly that works. So basically, you have an entire list of all the emails which you are currently tracking, and it shows you whether this email was open or not. And basically, if you dive into that specific email thread, you can see basically in here directly, you can see how many times it was open, from which location, and so on, and even on which device, which is super helpful when you're trying to understand whether the email which you have sent, whether it had any views, or you should follow up, or people are just ignoring you for some reason. So it gives you more idea on what kind of next steps you want to plan. But we also, in the meantime, we provide different options. Like we can go ahead and we provide the quick scheduling options. You can either go ahead and send the meeting time slots. And what is actually is happening in this case? So I've just got an email from Jeff. I do have tons of people, my colleagues, people from Jeff's team invited. So what I can do in here when I'm sending the meeting time slots, I can see first of all and change the meeting subject. I can see all the identities in here, and basically I can modify that if I want to. I can optionally share this event with the Salesforce right away if that is needed. When I'm hitting next, basically it would allow me to go ahead and suggest the times. So right now I can see my availability, which are like blue meetings. I can see my colleagues' availability, which are kind of red meetings. And I can select some free time slots, which would work for my team. And let's say a couple of times in here and a couple of times, tomorrow. Hit next. You can also pick the times from the calendar view, just maybe it's for some specific date. When I'm hitting next, I'll just once again, to double check, I'll see all the related information. So it's all good. So I'm hitting next once again. And what it would do, it would basically create a new email with those time slots inserted. So once Once Jeff or anyone from his team is opening the time slot specifically, but by the way, you can change anything in the body of the email if you want to. If you go into that event specifically, you would be able to actually book the time. So you can see right now, me as an organizer, you can see all the attendees in the event, and you can see that there is a specific time slot that you actually want to be able to block. So you can go ahead and book the meeting for that, which is super easy. It saves a lot of time when you're trying to schedule a meeting instead of playing the ping pong of like
Yeah,
what
it's
time would
definitely
work for
easy. Yeah.
you, what time would work for you. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Can we reschedule and so on? So instead of that, you can actually go ahead and pick up the times which would work specifically and have the meeting books in a second. So that's actually one of the productivity tools which we have right now, and it's actually developing as we speak. So it would be even more enhanced.
Yeah,
I must tell you guys that this is a really good tool when you want to increase your follow-up rates. The most challenging for any rep in your company would be to not just to get on the first call with your prospect or with your customer, but also to get on the follow-up calls. And typically you would hear something like, well, try in a week time, try next Wednesday, try next Thursday. And when you do try, you may call them in the morning just to find out they're not in the office yet, call them a bit later, they're on the phone, call again later, they are having a meeting with their boss. So you might be calling all day long without any luck. So that will not work until you actually schedule a specific time in their calendar for the follow-up call. And this tool is just a great solution for that, because obviously when you hear something like try next, what do you have, Thursday or Friday, right? You just say, okay, I'll send you my available time slots. Please pick the time slot that works best for you. And so you make the follow-up flexible. You can let them choose whatever time slot works for them. And once they pick the time slot, that books the meeting in everyone's calendar, so no one will miss it and have the call or whatever, because they will be expecting the meeting to take place and to get with you on the phone or to meet you somewhere. We're actually having some questions coming. So Margaret is asking, what if I do not see in my Android app? So Margaret, we will send you some instructions how you can get it to work on your Android. So we'll need to check what version of Android you currently use and what Outlook you have, and we will send you the instructions how to get it work with SmartCloud Connect on your Android phone. How does SmartCloud Connect work with group mailboxes? We have a team of users who are working with a mailbox, which is integrated in their personal Outlook mailbox to be faster. Lightning isn't able to manage it without a special user. So this is a really good question. We will, again, I guess we'll get in contact with you, Marina, later after this demo, and we'll discuss it, what options you have with the SmartCloud Connect for that.
Yeah, but just to like this short answer to your question is yes, it's definitely supported.
Yes. Yeah, we do.
All right, so let me now, I'll try to make myself a presenter again. Let's go back to Todd Gardner. So let's say, I've got the record created. So let's imagine I try to call him, right? And I would want to schedule or set up a task in my Salesforce, right? So I will have my next step planned. So again, looking into the sidebar, I see the object for tasks, and when I click on it, it just tells me that all overdue tasks, nothing. And so it doesn't seem to give me the ability. It just shows me what tasks I have in my Salesforce, but it doesn't give me the ability to actually create one right inside of the Outlook. So the only option for me to do it is just to open this record in the Salesforce and do it right there, which obviously doesn't increase any productivity for me. Femi, what does SmartCloud do in that regard? Can you create follow-up tasks without leaving your inbox?
Of course you can. So, but not just even creating tasks, you can also really perform other activities right from your inbox. So, I'm going to share my screen now, and a detailed example that I'm going to be showcasing will be an email that I've received from Henry and Cornell. So, using SmartCloud Connect, I can see all activities that have actually transpired within this conversation. Now, let's say, for example, I gave Henry a call, right? And I got a voicemail, but the email states there that I also want to let them know that their trial has expired. So first of all, I will leave a call, like a create a task first to create to log a call first, either to the contact or to the opportunity itself.
Yep.
So, but what I want to do first is actually reply to this email, which I can actually use one of our smart actions. By responding to this email, I can as well relay that to whatever record. So this is a trial expiration email that I'm sending out. And I'm also going to relate it to the account itself. And it's some of the smart actions that we have. A new window will pop up. Now, before I also send this email, I will now create a task so that I'll have a reminder to either call them before sending out this email next. So I can create a follow-up call task here.
Exactly. So it basically helps you to cover like the full cycle of
Yeah.
what you have to in terms of the sales process.
Yep.
And you can do everything right inside the inbox, right? You don't have to go to
Yep.
Salesforce.
Of
No.
course.
So
So this is a created task have been created successfully. You can also view that right now, as you can see. It's
Mhm.
called a reminder. And now I can send this email that I've also utilized our smart functionality to insert. Now you can see how smart the tool is. It has also kept the email thread going and basically boosting my productivity, and I can perform multiple actions at the same time.
That's right.
So, Alex,
yeah, this is great. So this is awesome. So, frankly speaking, when it comes to email templates, this feature is really helpful when you have to write quick emails like thank you emails, or maybe send. Typically, for example, when I use this feature with the email templates, when I make a lot of phone calls a day, right? I make
Yeah.
many calls and I get many voicemails as well. And so typically,
can share your
people, if they
screen,
don't
Alex.
listen to my voicemails, I would send them an email to say that I left them a voicemail. And so if
Yeah.
they don't listen to my voicemail, then they would scan through their inbox to know that I've actually tried to call them, right?
That's
And
right.
so
Mhm.
and that again increases the response rate, because if they don't get back to me by phone, they will definitely get back to me by email if they're interested in my solution. So that way I'm not missing
Exactly.
on anyone.
Yeah.
And it
By
takes
the
me
way,
to yeah, go
by
ahead,
the
Tom. Yeah.
we have a couple of questions from the audience, just to mention them. So the first one, if you are using a Gmail account within the Outlook, how do I connect if there is not an Exchange account? So there is definitely a way. You can still have the side panel. So all you have to do is to go to the Chrome store and basically install the plugin for SmartCloud from there, and you'll be able to use the full functionality of the side panel. And there is a second question from Bill Keller, whether this is functional with Office 365. It's actually a
Yeah.
super good question, because with Office 365, it works even better. Since it's a cloud technology, we provide a cloud-based plugin as well. And since you are in Office 365, you'll be fully compatible, and you'll even have the cloud-based version of the Smart Cloud.
I
Of
know,
course.
Tom, you are using the Office
Office
365. You don't
365.
use the
Yeah,
Yeah,
Outlook line, right?
maybe you
exactly.
can, yeah, so I've stopped my screen. Maybe you can just show them that it's the same UI that you get both on the native Outlook and also the Office 365, whatever.
Absolutely. Let me show my screen. So basically, in terms of like how I do work, I mostly spend my time in Office 365, not in Outlook, just because previously I was a Gmail user. So it's just like the background and some ideas that I have from the past, but still. So in the Office 365, it looks all the same. So all the same fields which you have configured in customization, all the fields that you have whatsoever, is basically all are present in here in the same, absolutely same look and feel as you have it in the Outlook. And it's fully compatible with Mac. Femi, you were showcasing on the Mac platform, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on a Mac. My colleagues are also on Windows, so the full compatibility is pretty exceptional here.
Yep. We
So
try to
the real
provide
cool
this.
stuff about SmartCloud is it's everywhere, wherever you go and whatever
Everywhere, yeah.
device you use, right? So
iOS, Android, it's everywhere. You're on the
it's
go.
everywhere,
Yeah, full coverage.
full coverage. Alrighty. So do we have any additional questions, guys? If you do, feel free to ask. In the meantime, let me ask you some poll we have for you. So the first question we will have for you: do you have an integration between your Salesforce and Outlook in place as of now? So you should see it showing up on your screen right now, and you can take a vote. Also, if you do have some questions, again, feel free to ask your questions too. We would be happy to answer those questions as well for you.
There is a question as we speak. So there is a question from Marina. We have a few email templates already in Salesforce. They can be used with SmartCloud. Do you have to create them? No, actually, we try to rely on the Salesforce functionality in terms of the templates as much as we can, because most of the people, they create the templates in Salesforce specifically. So all the templates which you'll pull, they are basically coming from your Salesforce already. So you don't have to create them once again.
Actually, we have a quite interesting picture with our votes. So we will be closing the vote right now. Okay, so I'll close it, and now let me share it with you guys. So this is what we have so far. So majority, no, we want to implement it as soon as possible. So it's a good plan, obviously, because this strategy will definitely increase the productivity of your team and obviously increase the profits of your company, as your reps, instead of wasting their time on doing the data entry into the CRM, may focus more on actually working with your prospects and customers, and let SmartCloud to take care of the data entry and working with your Salesforce right inside of the tool they primarily use. Okay, great. So thank you very much for voting here. And another question I would have for you: what integration do you currently use? So again, there are some people that use SmartCloud, others use Salesforce Lightning for Outlook, LinkPoint, SIRS, Inside, and other. So let us know what you currently use.
Just to get more idea of like what experience you guys have, and whether you've used anything before at all.
If you don't use anything, just put other, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we have another question from Marina. Thank you, Marina. It's necessary to create an API connection in Office 365? No, there is actually no need to create any kind of API connection whatsoever. So we basically install the tool from the Office store, and that's pretty much it. Firewall settings, they can be applied if actually we do have a list of the IPs which you have to open, because it's necessary for us to connect through those IP addresses, and basically it's something that we regularly do in terms of like the POC process or in terms of the rollout process. So it's okay for us. It's a standard procedure. So only the IP address, there are some IP addresses that should be open, and that's pretty much it.
All right, so let me close this poll right now. So this is probably what we expected as well. So we have 20% using SmartCloud, 60% using Salesforce Lightning for Outlook, and 20% probably nothing, or some other tool that we haven't mentioned in the poll. So I guess, guys, this is the primary reason why you are here on this webinar, to learn what perks you get with the SmartCloud Connect when comparing with the Salesforce Lightning. So hopefully we covered most of your questions and gave you the idea how we're different. But again, if you have any additional questions to ask, feel free to do it right after this webinar. You can call us, email us. All of you got an email from us, and we would be happy to answer your questions for you. Yeah, so I guess we will be ending this webinar right now. So again, I will provide you our contact details. So here are again our contact details, and phone numbers. So you can call us right after this webinar, or you can email us, and we would be happy to help you out with your projects to ensure that you have a best solution in place for your Salesforce user adoption.
Exactly.
So again, thank you very much for joining this webinar, and I guess I'll look forward to hearing back from you.
Sure.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.